important that we as the airline industry speak with one voice on as many issues as we can, because we have quite a loud voice when we come together and reach agreement on these issues. It's also timely. We have a new commission in place at the moment. We met with the commissioner today. We were able to explain to her the very ambitious programme we have as A4E and A4E members, not just to grow, but to grow in a sustainable fashion over the next certainly 10 years. We're investing huge amounts of money to deliver that growth, and to deliver that growth in a sustainable manner. So I give you 3 quick slides. You'll be pleased to know I'm going to spare you the Ryanair advertorial. So we're just going to talk about sustainable air transport. So aviation, let's go back to some facts around here. Aviation represents just 2% of global CO2 emissions. It's tiny. Marine transport accounts for 4%. So if you really want to tackle the environment, tax the ferries. Yet nobody ever says you should tax the ferries, because it doesn't make for a nice news clip. Some boat chugging out of port. You can't quite see the globe warming up, and yet it accounts for twice the emissions of aviation. However, that's not to say that we're not, there isn't more we can do, and there is. There is another myth here, perpetrated mainly in Brussels, that somehow the EU airlines have a free ride. We don't pay environmental taxes. Rubbish. We pay astonishing quantities of environmental taxes, as I'll demonstrate in a moment. The combined A4E airlines this year will pay over 6 billion euros just in environmental taxes. And these taxes, particularly in Europe, discriminate against EU airlines and consumers. You have the joke of the EU ATS scheme, which is paid for only by European domestic consumers, short-haul flights in Europe. They're not paid by the non-European airlines on long-haul flights, and therefore they're not paid by the European airlines on long-haul flights either. So congratulations, Europe, for managing to tax ourselves while all the other economic blocs are laughing at us. But they discriminate against consumers. A4E, however, we want to be positive. We're part of the Green Deal solution. We've put forward a radical fleet renewal programme. We are, as a group of airlines, in the middle of, not the starting point, not promising in 10 years' time, we're in the middle of a $170 billion fleet renewal programme, which will reduce fuel consumption on average by 24%. The A4E airlines have committed to be net carbon zero, to get to net zero carbon by 2050. Again, which is a more aggressive target than any other, the airlines of any other bloc, Americans, the Chinese, the Russians, or the Asian airlines. And we're also calling on the EU to support airline industry and consumers by helping us to support research and development in areas like fuel and alternative power sources. Next slide. This is just a sample briefly of what one A4E member is paying in environmental taxes, just environmental taxes last year and in the current, this year and in next year. UK, it's Ryanair, but don't tell anybody. We're paying nearly 400 million euros in UK APD. German APD 85 million, that will now rise to over 120 million with the recently announced increase in APD taxes. In Scandinavia 5 million, and EU ETS payments have mushroomed from 115 million last year to 150 million this year. None of which does anything for the environment, other than add approximately 10% to our average ticket price. Our average ticket price is 40 euros, and every passenger of that 40 euros in the coming year, we will pay over 4 euros in environmental taxes to the UK government, the German government, the Scandinavian government, and under the EU ETS programme, we'll be paying it to the power generators, the cement manufacturers. All the big polluters get rewarded by the result of our passengers paying these taxes to reward the polluters. It's a stupid system. It damages the competitiveness of European aviation, also that somebody can pretend that they're doing something about the environment, when at the time, as an industry, we're investing $170 billion to significantly reduce our fuel consumption. With the new Commission, action is needed. We're quite clear, EU aviation taxes are not the solution. Yes, we would say that because we don't want to pay more aviation taxes. No, our customers don't want us to pay more aviation taxes. And again, there's this kind of a misunderstanding here. There's kind of this movement that comes out of the centre of Europe, the Dutch and the Belgians and the Germans. Well, it's all right, we can all cycle or we can all switch to trains. If you live on the island of Ireland, or you live in Portugal or the Baltic states or Greece, we don't have the alternative cycling to get to Brussels or taking trains. Flying is the only way on and off the island of Ireland. And believe me, with the rain we have, you need to get on and off the island of Ireland regularly. So we have to have low-cost air travel. One of the great success stories of the European is the single aviation market, which has been one of the great economic successes of the European Union. European airlines already pay significant environmental taxes, over $5 billion or euros in 2018 alone. Where global aviation emission offsetting Corry project is years away, we do need industrial policy at European level for alternative fuels or sustainable aviation fuels. If the European Union was really serious about the environment, it would get up off its arse and do something about the single European sky, which has been a lamentable joke for the last 20 years. Nothing has been done. It's being hijacked and held up by tiny numbers of air traffic controllers and their unions, who frankly don't give a shit if you're delayed or your flight is cancelled. Witness the French are at it again today. And yet the technology has completely bypassed them. Yet we're still told we have to fly in these zigzag lines across Europe, when in actual fact the technology exists to do without them, or to run European air traffic control as a single sky, as it does in North America. If that was to be effective and introduced, and all it requires is political will under the new commission, you would reduce fuel consumption. Not only would you reduce flight delays by 15%, you'd also reduce fuel consumption and emission by over 10%. And all it needs is a decision and some political will here in Brussels. There is an opportunity for this new commission to deliver real fundamental change where the last commission didn't. We, as the Airlines for Europe, look forward to working with Commissioner Eoghan and her team to deliver real and sustainable change here over the next number of years, which, unlike the mountains of talk and hot air that goes on over here in Brussels, would actually have a meaningful, deliver a meaningful change for the environment, and particularly in the air travel sector in Europe.